really high def, right? You ever try to send one of those suckers through Yahoo? It doesn't work. Why? Because the damn file's too big, right? So what do you have to do? You have to save it down. You have to keep compressing it and removing information and removing information and removing information until it's something the system can handle. Now, if you send that, you finally get it down to a size that you can send, and you send it to a person who wants to blow it up, right? And they blow it up and it's at that small size, but they don't like it that way. So what do? They try to make it bigger. And all of a sudden, all the missing information is pixelated, there's parts missing. So you have two choices. You can live with the lossy photograph, or you can open up your paint program, or you can open up Photoshop or Corel or whatever you use, and try to put the information back and hope it's right. That's pretty much what we do with every experience that we have, that we catalog in our brains, is we create a distorted photograph and then try to recreate the experience based on the information that's left. Okay? But the beautiful thing about it, and people don't realize, is that the actual experience is gone. It can't come back. So the only thing that's left of it is the way you're choosing to remember it. Notice the words I use. The way you're choosing to remember it. Most of us don't realize we have a choice. Those expressions, those memories, they get encoded randomly and by default based on the person we are and the emotional states we're in at the time and the information that we have. And we don't realize that we can go back and change the code. We can put information back in or take information out. That changes how we experience that memory. Your body is already predisposed to default to memory over thinking anyway. So if you're going to go back and remember something, would it be more useful to remember things that make your life better or make you feel shitty? So why don't we just go back and change the photos so that when we remember them in a way that makes our life better. And that's what we do in NLP and hypnosis. And specifically NLP within hypnosis. Because to err is human. To really complicate things, you need a neuro-linguistic program. And I mean that. I do not believe anybody should learn NLP first. Ever. I think you should become really, really good at hypnosis, because then you can screw up all the different ways you can imagine and fix it, and no one will ever know. And you can take any NLP pattern on the planet and make it work, even if you've just seen it once. You can make shit up, and it'll work. NLP tends to install in people this fear of making a mistake. They become slaves to the script, slaves to the recipe, instead of a master of the principles that govern the mind. But it works. It gets people functional. But it doesn't give them mastery. It tends to make them really, really afraid to make a mistake.
It seems like a good analogy would be if you give someone really advanced software.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't have the skills to use it.
Yeah. And so a lot of times it's in what we do in my school, and this is how I do things. I give you the least amount of information possible. Even though I'm drowning you in information, when I actually put you to do work, you have 4 bullet points that you're working from. Your first trance takes 4 steps. Do this, check to see if they did it. Do this, step 2, check to see if they did it. By the time they've hit the second step, they're already in trance. They just don't know it yet. In my world, trance is a physiological process. You don't have to believe it. It's still going to work on you. So we idiot-proof it, and then we build on that.
What's your take on the therapists working on clients who had something traumatic happen to them?
I do it all the time.
Yeah, but they go through it, and how did that make you feel, and this and that, and
Again, we talk about therapists. What kind of therapists are we talking about?
You're talking about like psychotherapist.
Yeah, like
Psycho the rapist?
Yeah. And what's your take on that approach to let the client live through whatever the experience or something like that? Sort of relive it. I mean, is there any good there?
I think you're talking about psychoanalysis, where they talk about their problem over and over and over again, and then eventually try to come to some kind of rational understanding of the process. It doesn't fix the problem.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't fix the problem. If the rational mind could solve the problem, it would have done it already.
Yeah.
It's that simple. In hypnosis, we have this thing called the presenting problem. The reason somebody comes to you is never the reason they're there. I'll give you a very dramatic example. I had a lady, she was in her, early to mid-40s, very attractive, very athletic, had married well, but her goal, her dream in life, was to be a San Diego Chargers cheerleader. Now, you may be very attractive, you may be young for your age, but at 40 years old, trying to become a San Diego cheerleader, not probably the smartest thing, but that was her goal. And so she was doing everything she could. She was going to gymnastics class, dance classes, every class you could think of. She was dieting. She was doing everything she could. She really wanted this. She heard I did performance enhancement. She came to me because she was having trouble with her backflip. She was afraid when she went into the backflip, she started having issues holding back, things like that. No problem. We put her in the chair. We do what we call an affect bridge, which is where we generate an emotional state. We jump back to the very first scene, situation, or event that has everything to do with the fear. She's 11 years old, getting molested by her uncle. That's why she came. Why? Because when I asked to go back to the very first scene, situation, or event that has everything to do with the reason why she's here, that's where her unconscious mind went. That's what's driving her behavior. Now, between the fear of the backflip and that event, there are level upon level upon level of rationalizations, deletions, distortions, and generalizations that are still somehow connected, non-linearly at the unconscious level. And it's driving her behavior. If you're going to do hypnosis or NLP, their client is almost 100% lying to you the moment they tell you what their problem is. They don't know. If they knew, they would have fixed it. That information is hidden behind a firewall between the conscious and the unconscious mind. But the unconscious mind always knows where the problem started, who the players were, and what needs to be addressed. The question is, do you have the tools and the understanding of what's going on to make that change for them, to help them get through it?
What did you do to help her?
In that case, we did basic regression. We vented the emotional charge. We desensitized the event. We did chair therapy to get forgiveness for all wrongs, real or imagined. We reprocessed the experience and future-paced it. And she was great.